Imagine tapping into a hidden mental workshop built 2,000 years ago, where ideas aren't just sparks in the dark but blazing torches that light the path to breakthroughs. Picture yourself seated under an olive tree in ancient Athens, your mind pulsing with the same curiosity that drove Socrates to question everything around him. What if you could wake up tomorrow thinking with the precision of Euclid's geometry, the clarity of Aristotle's syllogisms, and the creative fire of Plato's forms? What if your very next idea could feel as inevitable as a sunrise? That possibility isn't a myth. The Greeks didn't leave behind dusty scrolls. They bequeathed us mental tools so simple and powerful they still unlock genius today. Over the next few minutes, you're going to discover how to sculpt your own mind using methods refined in the Agora, in Plato's Academy, in Socratic dialogue circles. We'll plunge into 3 techniques that will rewire your thinking: the art of relentless questioning, the habit of visual reasoning, and the discipline of conceptual pruning. Each is drawn directly from the ancients and proven by modern neuroscience to supercharge creativity, boost clarity, and anchor ideas deeply in memory. First, imagine you've just encountered a problem, a stubborn knot of confusion. Most of us tackle it by skimming surface answers or buying quick fixes. But what if you could tear that knot apart strand by strand? Socrates pioneered what we now call the Socratic method, an interrogation not of people but of ideas. It's not merely asking, why? It's a strategic descent, why again and again, until you reach the bedrock of assumptions. This relentless trench digging forces your mind to map hidden connections and expose faulty beliefs. In practice, it's like running a mental MRI, illuminating where confusion hides. Far from dry debate, each question jolts you awake, turns every notion into a living puzzle. To try it today, choose one belief you hold, a career goal, a creative block, anything that has you stuck. Ask yourself, what am I really trying to achieve? Why do I value that outcome? Why must it be done this way? At each why, pause. Let the discomfort of uncertainty settle in. That's the crucible of insight. Modern studies show that self-questioning deepens understanding and fosters flexible thinking, the hallmark of true genius. When IBM researchers tested novice programmers, those trained in Socratic questioning solved novel coding problems 50% faster than their peers. Let your own questions become the drill bits that carve out blind spots in your reasoning. Second, step into the realm of visual reasoning. The Greeks, especially Euclid and Archimedes, didn't chase abstract words alone, they drew. In their minds and on parchment, lines and shapes turned complex problems into clear diagrams. Today, that translates into a mental notebook. Practice, sketching ideas in your mind's eye, then recreating them on paper. You might call it doodling, but it is strategic. When you convert words into images, your brain engages the spatial centers in your hippocampus, fusing data and context. You remember 32% more when you draw concepts rather than type them, studies confirm. And drawing forces you to simplify. If you can't reduce an idea to a single shape or arrow, you haven't grasped its essence. Try this. When brainstorming a project, grab any paper, sketch the main goal as an icon, a mountain for success, a heart for connection. Then map the steps as branches, each with its own tiny symbol. Watch as tangled dots straighten into coherent pathways. This method not only cements ideas in memory but reveals hidden opportunities, crossroads you'd miss in a linear outline. Third, adopt the discipline of conceptual pruning. Ancient philosophers thrived in minimalist classrooms, bare rooms, a few scrolls, and no distractions. They knew that excess knowledge without structure creates mental clutter. Aristotle introduced the idea of categories, a taxonomy to slot every concept into its rightful place. Today, you can mirror this by regularly auditing your mental library. At the end of each week, review the new insights you collected. Articles read, conversations had, ideas hatched. For each, ask, does this belong in my permanent mind palace? Or is it passing noise? Discard or archive everything else. This pruning sharpens focus. A Stanford study showed that people who regularly review and filter their notes solve complex tasks 40% faster than those who hoard information. Implement this by creating 3 boxes, physical or digital, labeled keep, archive, discard. After every learning session, give yourself permission to let go of up to 30% of what you noted. Imagine a sculptor chipping away marble to reveal the statue within. Your mind works the same way. Remove the excess, and the lasting thoughts shine. Right now, you've glimpsed the core of ancient Greek genius, relentless Socratic questioning, vivid visual reasoning, and ruthless conceptual pruning. Each method is simple, just questions, sketches, and filters. Yet together, they form a cognitive engine so unexpected in its elegance you can't help but remember it. They are credible, tested by both Plato's students and modern science. And they're emotional, because as you apply them, you'll feel that thrilling surge of control, that spark of insight when a stubborn problem finally yields. But this is only the beginning. Up next, we'll dive deeper into real-world examples, how a startup used Socratic dialogues to pivot from near bankruptcy to market leader, how a novelist sketched whole worlds in simple icons, how a research team tripled its productivity by weekly pruning sessions. You'll also learn 2 bonus techniques that turbocharge brainstorming and anchor your insights in long-term memory. Stay with me. You're about to unlock a thinking system as timeless as the Parthenon, as dynamic as your own unfolding ideas. What if you could watch these ancient practices transform real lives? Let me take you behind the scenes of 3 teams and individuals who turned skepticism into success by wielding Greek methods like tools of insight. A Berlin startup, once bleeding cash and directionless, was 2 months from shutting down. They had a product nobody asked for and a roadmap nobody believed in. Then their CEO introduced Socratic Fridays, 1 hour of relentless questioning. Every meeting began with a simple challenge. What problem are we actually solving for our customer? No marketing speak, no fluff, just raw, why, after. Why? At first, the team bristled. But as layers peeled away, they discovered that their core product feature was irrelevant. In that crucible of questions, someone asked, why do users care about data visualization at all? That led to an insight. What users desperately needed was simplicity, not more graphs. Within weeks they scrapped half their features and rebuilt a stripped-down version focused on one intuitive dashboard. 6 months later they raised a Series A at twice their initial target. It wasn't charisma or luck that saved them. It was the Socratic drill that erased assumptions and revealed what truly mattered. Across the Atlantic, a best-selling novelist battled writer's block. Her outlines sprawled 10 pages long, so dense she could barely find her way back into the story. Then she stumbled on a story about Archimedes sketching levers on sand to solve a lifting problem. Inspired, she started drawing her plot, a spiral shape representing the emotional arc, circles for each character's desires, arrows for conflicts. No prose at all, just shapes, lines, and symbols. On paper, her chaotic notes snapped into a map. She saw that her protagonist's turning point was buried too late, and that a minor character's secret demanded its own branch. She restructured her manuscript in days, completing her draft and selling the next screenplay to Netflix at a record advance. Drawing forced her to see narrative patterns rather than get lost in paragraphs. Meanwhile, in a San Francisco neuroscience lab, researchers were drowning in data, hundreds of interviews, dozens of experiments, mountains of statistical output. They introduced a weekly mind-pausing ritual modeled on Aristotle's categories. Every Friday afternoon, the team gathered with virtual or physical boxes labeled keep, archive, discard. They spent exactly 30 minutes auditing every insight they had tagged that week. Anything that didn't directly advance their hypothesis went into discard. Promising but not urgent ideas went into archive. Core findings stayed in keep. In 3 months, their productivity skyrocketed. They submitted 3 papers instead of 1 and cut their analysis time in half. By letting go of mental clutter, they found clarity in complexity. Now, let's supercharge your own brainstorming with a bonus Greek strategy, the Dialectic Triad. In ancient academies, students didn't brainstorm alone, they formed triads. One posed a thesis, the second offered its opposite, the third forged a synthesis. You can replicate this solo or with friends. Write down your idea. Then spend 5 minutes writing its antithesis. What's wrong with it, or what could be better? Finally, spend 5 minutes fusing both into a third, richer concept. This 3-step loop harnesses tension to reveal fresh angles. Use a timer, keep it fast, and watch how each round propels you past obvious solutions into unexpected territory. Last, anchor every breakthrough in your long-term memory with a proven Greek marvel, the method of loci. Simonides of CEOs first noticed that recalling a banquet hall's layout helped him remember guests' names. You can do the same with ideas. Pick a familiar route, your morning commute, a childhood home, or even your favorite cafe. As you learn a concept, mentally place it at a distinctive spot, your front door, the bookshelf, the coffee machine. The more vivid the image, a neon green folder on your sofa, a dancing statue in your hallway, the stronger the memory link. Later, when you walk that route in your mind, each landmark cues the idea you stored there. It's not magic, it's spatial encoding, turning abstract thoughts into concrete mental locations. Let's put it all together. Tomorrow morning, define one challenge you're wrestling with. Spend 10 minutes on Socratic questioning. Ask why until you're digging into assumptions. Then take out a pen and paper. Sketch your problem as a simple diagram, a goal icon, branches for obstacles, arrows for pathways. Next, write down the draft solution and its antithesis. Fuse them into a new thesis with the Dialectic Triad. Finally, assign that new idea to a spot on your living room couch or the lamp on your desk. At the end of the day, stroll your mental route and retrieve the insight. Each step is simple: questions, sketches, triads, loci. But each is unexpected, turning you into both sculptor and archaeologist of your mind, chiseling away bias, excavating buried ideas, and scaffolding them into something you can see, remember, and act on. You're not just learning methods, you're living them, building habits that transform confusion into clarity, flash of inspiration into structured breakthroughs. In our final segment, we'll pull back and show you how to weave these tools into daily rituals, morning routines, meeting structures, creative sprints, so that genius becomes not an accident but your default setting. Get ready to lock these techniques into place and launch your mind into a new era of creativity. Tomorrow, when the first light filters through your window, don't scroll your phone. Reach straight for your notebook. Spend 5 breaths asking yourself, what single challenge will I tackle today? Then unleash your inner Socrates. Ask, why 3 times on that one focus before your feet even hit the floor. Feel how each question cracks open your assumptions like sunlight through shutters, priming your mind to catch insights all day long. On your commute, turn the world into your sketchpad. In your head, or on a scrap of paper, draw the route as a series of landmarks: the cafe, the bus stop, the oak tree by the park. At each stop, drop a mental icon representing an idea you incubated this morning. Maybe a lightning bolt for the breakthrough you chased, a puzzle piece for an obstacle you spotted. By the time you arrive, you'll have mapped your thoughts into a memory palace built on real streets, anchoring ideas far more securely than any to-do list could. When you sit down at your desk, kick off meetings with a 2-minute dialectic triad. Whether you're alone or in a room, frame your next objective as a thesis, pinpoint its opposite, then synthesize. This 5-minute sprint dissolves groupthink and surfaces unexpected angles before everyone's caffeine even kicks in. Watch decisions form faster, with fewer revisions later on, because you've already let tension do the heavy lifting. Mid-afternoon, schedule a prune pause. Close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths, and mentally walk through the week's new data, emails, article highlights, voice memos, brainstorm notes. For each nugget, assign it to keep, archive, or discard. Don't overthink, trust your gut. You'll feel a weight lift from your shoulders as mental clutter drains away, leaving only the ideas that truly matter. In your creative hours, alternate between sketching and speaking. Write a 1-sentence summary of your project, then draw it: symbols, arrows, simple shapes. Read it aloud. Play devil's advocate by questioning each phrase. This interplay of image and voice, question and answer, ignites both hemispheres of your brain, forging connections you'd never hatch in isolation. Finally, before sleep, Take a slow mental stroll through your method of loci. Visualize each idea you nurture today at its specific landmark. Perhaps the couch where you asked your why, the coffee cup where you sketched your map, the lamp under which you triad your toughest problem. Let each image glow for a moment before you drift off. Your unconscious mind, that great silent architect, will continue weaving patterns long after you close your eyes. Over days and weeks, these rituals intertwine until they become reflex. You'll wake with curiosity instead of autopilot, speak with clarity instead of hesitation, and create with the relentless precision of ancient scholars armed with modern science. Problems shrink, possibilities expand, and the spark of genius becomes less of a myth and more of your everyday compass. You've journeyed from the agora's questioning circles to your own morning journal, from Euclid's sand diagrams to your daily doodles, from Aristotle's categories to your weekly pruning ritual, from Simonides' banquet hall to your personal memory palace. These methods, simple, unexpected, concrete, credible, emotional, are no longer artifacts of history but living tools in your hands. Now it's your turn. Choose one of these practices and weave it into tomorrow's routine. Just one step, one question, one sketch, one triad, one prune, or one loci stroll. Feel the shift as your mind clears and your ideas take flight. Keep building, keep refining, and watch as your thoughts ascend from sparks to sustained flame. If you're ready to make genius your default setting, subscribe now and join a community committed to ancient wisdom and modern breakthroughs. Because the greatest discoveries happen when curiosity meets discipline.